Paul and Silas. They were praying at midnight after being thrown behind the bars. They had been imprisoned, and what was their offense? That after that first missionary journey of St. Paul, many people were being converted, and the authorities were not happy. So they were given several lashes, they were caned and thrown into prison. And then the doors were shut. But while inside there, Paul and Silas did not give up. They did not lose hope. And that's the message that I think we should take time to reflect on today. That when the world shutters you down, do not lose hope. They continued to pray, and they were singing in prison. And suddenly, at midnight, something like an earthquake, a great earthquake suddenly appeared. And the doors of the prison were open. What does this really prison represent? What does this earthquake represent? The prison represents sin that shatters people, that brings darkness, the world that is against the truth, the world that is against liberation. That is the prison. And this great earthquake that shatters, that opens the doors of prison, is like that earthquake that happened when Jesus died on the cross. And the curtains of the sanctuary were open. That opening of the sanctuary, and as St. Matthew says, the holy people who had died were seen entering heaven. It represents the opening of doors of sin and opening into eternity. That the chains of sin will be shattered. They will be let loose by the grace of God. And all those righteous people who have been in prison will be let loose. That death will no longer have its say on the righteous of God. And we can see that jailer, when he saw that the doors were open, he thought, because he had been actually the one who was chained, the one who was guarding the prison was actually the prisoner, not the ones who were inside. The person who needed liberation was this jailer sitting outside the prison. He was the one in jail. And see what happens. Immediately he sees the doors open, he wants to harm himself with the sword. And what does Paul say? Paul shouts, please don't harm yourself. And yes, what must I do? And we see the man beginning to change. He's transformed. He now listens to Paul. He's baptized and welcomes them into his house. What Luke was telling us here is actually those people who appear as if they are free, but because they have not encountered the grace of God, they are living in prison. Those who are living as if they are free, yet in actual fact, they are the ones in prison. Paul and Silas said that they are at liberty because they are no longer chained to this world. They now know who Jesus Christ is. My dear friends, many times we are discouraged by bad things that happen in our lives. Let us look at what is happening to Paul and Silas. They appear in the eyes of the world to be in prison, yet in actual fact, they are joyful, they are rejoicing, they are full of the praise. And that provides a moment also for this jailer to be seen or to be saved. In the gospel reading, we have seen Jesus asking the disciples or wondering why they are not asking where it's going. But he knows what is going on in their hearts. They are full of sorrow in their hearts. And why are they sorrowful? Perhaps they are feeling they are being left behind. They are being abandoned. They are wondering, how will it be like? The grace of God is sufficient. There is nothing so difficult that you go through that can overpower the grace of God. Not even those doors of the prison. The grace of God is sufficient. There is an author called Robin Sharma. He has written a book, and the title is "Who Will Cry When You Die?" Who will mourn when you die? The departure of Jesus is making the disciples to cry. They are not crying because he was a bad man. They are crying because they are beginning to feel like they are on their own, because there is something while he lived among them, he did to them. He gave meaning to their life. If you give meaning to people, the lives of people, they will feel if you say you are going away. They will feel your absence if you give meaning to their lives. But if you oppress their lives, they will not feel your absence. In fact, they will celebrate that you are not there. There is a phenomenon that has been going on in our country, and we need to be asking ourselves, why is it that people are beginning to feel when some people are having misfortune? Is it because we have been oppressing them, or because we have brought good news to them? If you bring liberation to people's hearts when we are missing in their lives,